So hello everyone, morning here. Welcome to my review of Kakegurui episode 5, a late night review here. A briefer than usually am then, I guess. But I really liked the end of this episode. I really appreciated the ending because I have been playing with anime that they never have any really good plans for it. It was the first time I felt that they had planned something out, they prepared it before the game started. They know something the opponent didn't know. They were like replay with some other rules actually. That kind of sounds right. And they were also manipulating how he was playing, how the other girl was playing, and so on. So that was really good. They weren't even practically cheating because it actually was allowed, even though it was very like shady. But okay. So I really liked that, and it made the game much better. But the problem still remains though, is that the game strategy in itself isn't very deep in this anime. So why it started out great, like in last week's ending, which is like, I tricked you, and here's my actual cards, what crap. And then it showed him again, it's like, I bluffed again, you fool, like turn 5 or something like that, right? And that was great, so it started out great, but I felt that was a little too shallow. I think that's the anime issue or something, I think. It's like, it's shallow. So I liked it, but I was also, I felt it could be deeper there. Because one thing I was thinking about the way I was watching was, man, this is going way too fast. This is going way too fast. His mental set is going from like top, super confident, to like bottom crashing right away. That was a little too fast in that sense, but also the game in itself, right? Because they're playing, say like turn 5, 6, or 7, 8. Normally, you would play this kind of poker game, you would play maybe 3, 4, maybe up to like 10 hands, but let's say like 4 hands, roughly, something like that. And then you will play your good cards and you wait, and you will have more of that. Then also that mind game they're doing would be actually be stronger because they're like, we have set this emotion now. It's gonna be nervous in like 10 moves from now. That kind of planning. But he's like bam, bam, bam. That kind of feels to it. That doesn't realistic, and it takes away their skill, so to speak. It feels more like he's a nuts case where he's like a very weak. He's like mental fatigue in one moment. That's how it kind of presented. So I think that could be better presented. Actually, you said on skip turn because they actually surprised me because they had said like turn 6, turn 7 in big letters, right? Why don't say like turn 6 the next time, turn 15, right? Okay, maybe too much, but you know what I mean? Because they could have skipped in between turns, right? And I mean, I've seen a lot of other gambling anime, so similar can be Akagi, they always play Mahjong, and Mahjong you can play a lot of turns. You can play like 40 turns if you take like for a very long time, but usually you play 4 rounds out of 2, so at least 8 turns, but usually more, because if the winner is the same win, you keep saying that win. So at least 8 turns, right? But they could be a lot more. And then usually you get into the motion of it's like, yeah, I'm just going for a quick win so I can win again, and yada yada. And then when they do that in an animation wise, and for example in Nakagi, they will say, okay, turn 11, right? This is happening. Then I say like, blah blah blah, short thing happened, no one won this turn. And then it's like turn 15, no Akagi has a win hand. Like that's how they present it, right? And that makes it way more logical because you wouldn't have these great, awesome hands every time. And when you play a poker game, even if they have this big ant there, people wouldn't be like betting. That wouldn't happen. It's like, but they're like a 5-year-old, like you will sit there calmly. They're all supposed to be gamblers, right? So we play. So I think that for me makes it unrealistic that they would go in like turn 6, 7, 8, 9. Especially when they were showing me big letters. Why don't say turn 7 and then like turn 9 and then like turn 12 something, right? Just make it feel like a little more time is passing. That was weird to me. And then the seduction part. And like, yeah, of course, who doesn't like girl and action speak? And a lot of course, Mary and you've been as well. So I say again, the anime is about ecchi, it's about borderline hentai, and I definitely stand by that. That whole scene, there's like 5 minutes of like, you want to join me, baby? Be in my team. And then of course the ending is like, we're best friends now, let's hug you, let's touch your stuff. And you have this scene just pushing her away to it, like amplified her assets there really weirdly to it, like suddenly. It's like, yeah, this is so fan service. That thing was good in one way. It's good if you like ecchi, and the whole like the cutting her hair and so on. That is great if you like some kind of masochistic or sadistic, BDSM behavior. That's what I feel watch anime. It's like, man, this is kind of like borderline hentai, say, BDSM vibes. Right? Yeah, like that's what I feel. Like so kind of if you watch, yeah, torture is bad, and like that kind of feel. Because it's tragic, but it has like a huge sexual undertone to it. So it's like, they did not sexual assault her, but they kinda did. That's how I feel. I was like, I don't know, man. And so that's good if you want that, that's great. And I was like, no, okay, it's pretty good. But what I don't like then is the whole system is like, instead of trying to defeat them by, the last part was great, as I mentioned earlier, but still trying to defeat them in the actual game, they're like, I'm gonna seduce you. If you join my team now, we can go and do it afterwards. Like, but you want to rather be with me and him. That's kind of how it's presented, right? And it's kind of like, it's a little cool on the sexual tone thing. That is pretty good. But as a gambling thing, also it's a general gaming strategy thing, it's horrible, right? It's like, I have no gambling skills, so I'm gonna have sex with you afterwards. So if you promise to make me win, we can do it afterwards. Like, okay, like, that's not actual a gamer. I'd rather see the main character be like, I see how you play, you do the shit. We have this much better shit. We shit the chips. So, see what I mean, right? The fact that they could have skipped the whole part with her, and you showed them the shit part in the end, as like a 10-minute episode of 10 minutes, right? And then went on, and I would feel like that's probably better for me. If I want the gambling anime. If I want this extra stuff, yeah, okay, then it's good. So it's like, so it's like give and take in this anime, I feel. First, I think one thing though, there's a lot of course, crazy faces, all the times anime, right? Weird extra stuff, fetish stuff, and it just really isn't like I feel that you play the game so little. And one thing I do really lack is that there is never someone saying like, oh, this strategy is quite common in this game. Like, yeah, there's no one ever narrating. I think it feels weird. There's no one's ever narrating. Because if you watch like a sport anime, you also it's not the same genre for me, gambling anime, it's not a genre. But if you watch a sport anime, usually someone be like, I will explain to you the rules of this game, bicycle game. This is how you become good, this guy to do this. Or someone be narrating, it's like, oh yeah, he's using this typical play now. This is very common in this region. Someone will do that thing, right? If you watch something like Soma, someone's gonna narrate like, oh yeah, his sushi is made by this thing. This is a classic Japanese way to do it from Ai or something, right? And someone's like, oh, but he's using this other version from China. This is very uncommon. And, it's like someone is gonna say that, and they'll be like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, interesting. That's how it's gonna be like. But this time is like, they're playing this card game. It doesn't feel like someone using any strategy really. Just like playing it. And there's something someone is like, I'm gonna do whatever you want with your if you let me win. Like that's all was happening. It's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, like that it's just weird. Like it feels like an excuse. It's like a better version of an ecchi anime, right? I really think so. I liked this episode. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But I still feel like it's just groundbreaking to me that they have so little gaming in it. Like it's so little, because it wouldn't be hard to add the stuff in there. Instead of, like I mentioned, you have the numbers. Just add those numbers higher up and have like a very short narration of someone like Mary saying, he hasn't been playing for the last 5 turns. He has to be afraid now. So it's like you just keep bombing the turn strikes. Like every turn has like, super much action. It makes sense. And also, as I again, then it makes the whole mental thing seems kind of weird. It's just quickly falling apart, right? Or it's too slow almost, because I had to fall apart quickly, managed it all in pretty much right away, and they'd be like, I knew you would do that. That would make more sense to me. So that is like he's kind of falling down part, but not fast enough, and also not slow because it's playing so fast. It's kind of like in the middle there, and I feel that's unrealistic. I think. I hope it's what I mean here. Leave a comment and I'll see you guys 3 weeks maybe. I think Kakegurui is on a break for at least 2 weeks. So yeah, have a great day and I'll see you next time.